Not so long ago, the United Kingdom accepted practices that today would cause shock, lawsuits, or both. People smoked inside hospital wards, enjoyed pints during lunch breaks, and sent children to school knowing a cane might await them for misbehavior. Life was more relaxed, less regulated, and occasionally surprisingly carefree compared to modern standards. These customs shaped everyday routines, and most citizens didn't question them at the time. If this content speaks to you, don't let the story end here. Leave a comment, join the conversation, and help us keep these voices alive. Subscribe for more journeys through time, and together, let's ensure these cities are never forgotten. Without further ado, let's continue. For decades, cigarette smoke was a standard part of hospital life. Patients lit up in their beds, visitors smoked by their side, and even doctors and nurses took cigarette breaks in staff rooms. Ashtrays were everywhere, including waiting rooms, and no one thought it odd. The mix of antiseptic and tobacco smoke seems unimaginable today. Slowly, beginning in the 1980s, public awareness of smoking-related illnesses grew, leading hospitals to implement full smoking bans by the 1990s. Yet for generations, cigarettes in wards were routine, even in maternity and children's units. In workplaces, the pub was once a natural extension of the office or factory. Workers frequently enjoyed liquid lunches, and in some industries, beer was even provided as part of the job. Dockers, builders, and journalists often returned to their duties after a pint. By the 1980s, stricter drink driving laws and workplace health regulations gradually ended this tradition. At the time, though, a pint during the day was considered harmless and a morale booster. Discipline in schools could be physical well into the 20th century. Teachers used canes, slippers, or rulers on children, often in front of classmates. This extended even to primary schools. While many believed corporal punishment maintained order, public sentiment shifted over time. By 1986, physical punishment was banned in state schools, followed by private schools, ending a long-standing practice. Seat belts weren't legally required for drivers or front seat passengers until 1983. Many early post-war cars lacked belts entirely, and some drivers resisted wearing them, claiming discomfort or believing they were unnecessary at low speeds. Road safety campaigns eventually changed minds, but at the time, choosing not to buckle up was ordinary. Cigarette advertising on television was once ubiquitous. Primetime shows featured glamorous actors, athletes, and scenic outdoor shots promoting smoking as stylish and desirable. Slogans entered everyday conversation, and tobacco sponsorship dominated sports and billboards. Public health campaigns eventually ended television cigarette ads in 1965, with further restrictions following in later decades. Children also traveled in cars without restraints or proper seating until the 1980s. They often sat on laps or moved around freely. Family journeys were lively and chaotic, but gradually car seats and belts became the standard, drastically changing the experience of travel for younger generations. Public parks were once common places for drinking. Families brought wine or beer to picnics, and teenagers congregated outdoors with casual drinks. Over time, concerns about safety and behavior prompted local councils to restrict alcohol in public spaces, making such scenes rare today. Asbestos was widely regarded as a miracle material and used in homes, schools, and factories. Builders handled it freely, often without protection. Its dangers became undeniable over time, leading to bans on new construction from the 1980s onward, but older buildings still hold its legacy. Gender-specific job advertisements were normal before the 1970s. Many positions were explicitly labeled for men or for women, reflecting assumptions about suitable work. The Sex Discrimination Act of 1975 outlawed such exclusions, but cultural attitudes took longer to shift. Teenagers could legally drink beer or wine with meals until relatively recently. Family dinners sometimes included small glasses for young people, reflecting a relaxed view on alcohol. Over time, laws tightened, and the legal drinking age was enforced strictly. Before 1965, vast stretches of Britain's roads had no speed limits, leaving drivers free to travel as fast as they wished. A national 70 miles per hour limit was eventually introduced after fatal accidents highlighted the danger. Dogs frequently roamed neighborhoods freely. Some were family pets, others strays, but children played with them, and neighbors sometimes cared for them. Later regulations requiring leashes, registration, and microchips ended this informal era. Corporal punishment in the armed forces persisted in law far longer than in practice. Even after public use ended, legal provisions allowed physical punishment for certain offenses until modern views on discipline and human rights phased it out completely. Children could buy fireworks over the counter without supervision. Small shops and market stalls sold them freely, especially ahead of bonfire night. Safety concerns eventually led to stricter age and sales restrictions. Hitchhiking was once a widely accepted and safe mode of travel. Young people, workers, and even families relied on strangers for rides. Modern safety concerns have made this practice far less common. Children could also run errands buying alcohol for their parents. A note from home was enough for shopkeepers to hand over bottles. While perfectly normal then, today this would result in immediate legal action. Looking back, these practices appear both shocking and familiar. From smoke-filled wards to casual beer at work, life was far less regulated and sometimes far riskier. Some changes brought undeniable safety and fairness, while others led to the loss of informal freedoms and local customs. They all remain part of living memory, a reminder of how quickly cultural norms can shift. Before central heating became common, many homes relied on electric irons that took ages to warm up. Housewives or working-class families spent hours pressing clothes while listening to the radio. Steamers and modern irons later made the task faster, but the ritual of carefully smoothing shirts or dresses by hand, and the soft rhythmic sound of the iron on fabric, has largely disappeared. Street vendors were a daily part of life. People sold fruit, vegetables, fish, and flowers from wooden carts pushed along narrow lanes. Their calls, "Fresh strawberries," "Fish for tea," echoed through neighborhoods, creating a lively soundtrack to daily routines. As supermarkets grew and home deliveries expanded, these local traders slowly vanished, leaving only memories of their shouts and friendly faces. Before mass-produced takeaway food, corner shops often prepared simple meals. A steaming pasty or sausage roll purchased from a local shop was more than food. It was a small interaction, a smile exchanged, a local story shared. Chains and fast food culture replaced these small neighborhood rituals, and the gentle charm of this everyday exchange faded. Even simple outdoor play has changed. Children once spent hours in neighborhood gardens or alleys, inventing games with hoops, skipping ropes, and marbles. Each street had its unspoken rules, and neighbors watched over them casually. Today, with screens, organized sports, and modern safety concerns, those spontaneous, imaginative street games are rare. Public telephones weren't just for calls, they were a small social hub. Teenagers used them to coordinate meetups, neighbors checked in on relatives, and couples whispered messages in private. With the rise of mobile phones, this tiny shared social space has vanished entirely, replaced by silent screens in every pocket. Book lending from small libraries was a ritual for many families. The librarian knew each child's reading habits, recommended books personally, and kept an informal record of popular titles. As digital media and large chain libraries expanded, these small personal connections faded, and reading became more transactional than relational. Before modern supermarkets, corner shops stocked essentials and luxuries alike, from tins of beans to small toys. Shopkeepers knew their customers by name and often offered small personal favors, like saving a rare chocolate bar for a child who visited every day. The rise of large chain stores erased that intimacy, leaving shopping efficient but impersonal. Newsstands were more than a place to buy newspapers, they were cultural hubs. Teenagers would gather to read the latest comic strips, adults checked stock prices or football results, and gossip spread naturally through conversation. Today, with digital news apps and online subscriptions, these small social spaces are nearly gone. Street musicians were once commonplace. Buskers playing accordions, violins, or saxophones brought charm to train stations, marketplaces, and town squares. Their music shaped the rhythm of daily life, and listeners tossed coins into battered hats. Modern entertainment, headphones, and urban regulations have pushed most live street music into festivals, leaving the spontaneous magic largely forgotten. Before disposable plastic, families relied on reusable containers, metal tins, and glass jars. Mothers and fathers carefully wrapped leftovers or took meals to work in enamel boxes. The ritual of preserving, packing, and sharing food connected households and emphasized resourcefulness. Today, convenience dominates, and these small practices have nearly vanished. Letter writing was an art and a social lifeline. People carefully penned notes to relatives, friends, or pen pals, often sealing envelopes with wax or stamps. The arrival of a letter brought excitement and anticipation. Email and instant messaging have replaced this slow, intimate form of communication, making it almost entirely nostalgic. Local pubs once acted as true community centers. Beyond drinking, they hosted debates, games of darts, quiz nights, and local announcements. Patrons recognized each other, news traveled fast, and disputes were settled with words rather than law. Corporate chains and stricter licensing regulations have changed the pub scene, leaving a less personal and more transactional social space. Telephone operators were once real people connecting calls manually. Their voices guided conversations, checked numbers, and even shared friendly chatter with regular customers. This human layer disappeared with automated dialing and digital networks, taking with it a small but significant element of social connection. Street corner milk vending machines, public water pumps, and coal deliveries all carried ritual and routine. They marked the rhythm of life, offered opportunities for casual encounters, and gave structure to the day. Modern delivery services and technology have streamlined these tasks, but the daily encounters they fostered are mostly gone. Public libraries were once bustling centers of learning and community. Children explored the shelves for adventure novels, students researched school projects, and adults borrowed newspapers or classics. Librarians knew frequent visitors personally, recommending books or holding reserved copies. Digital access and online resources have diminished the daily social interaction that libraries once provided. Cinema queues formed a key part of social life. People arrived early to chat, discuss films, and enjoy the anticipation before the show. Local cinemas had unique characters, ushers who knew everyone's favorite seats and ticket sellers who remembered the names of regular moviegoers. Multiplexes and streaming platforms have largely erased this communal experience. Before convenience foods dominated, homemade meals defined daily life. Bread was baked weekly, jams were made from seasonal fruit, and family recipes were carefully passed down. Kitchens were alive with smells, conversation, and learning. Modern frozen and pre-packaged foods have replaced much of this tactile and sensory connection with cooking. Ice cream vans were iconic summer presences. The chimes called children from streets and parks, and coins jingled as small hands exchanged them for cones. Social interactions happened naturally around these vans, creating neighborhood bonds. The proliferation of supermarkets and mobile snacks has made this summer ritual rarer. Local craftsmen and tradespeople shaped communities with their skills and presence. Butchers, cobblers, and bakers knew each family personally, remembered preferences, and offered advice. Mass production, chain stores, and online shopping have replaced these personal services, erasing not only jobs but also social ties. Community notice boards held more than announcements. They reflected the life of the town. Lost pets, upcoming dances, volunteer opportunities, and political posters told stories of daily life. Today, social media has replaced these boards, making interaction instant but far less tangible. Rag and bone men, who collected scrap and unwanted items, once wandered through streets, offering coins or barter for old goods. Their visits were a mixture of necessity and entertainment, sparking curiosity in children and conversation among neighbors. Modern waste collection and recycling schemes have made this practice almost extinct. Horse-drawn carts still lingered on some roads and farms in early 1960s Britain. They moved goods, milk, or coal, creating a slow, rhythmic pace in towns and villages. Their disappearance marked not only technological progress but also the end of a slower, more tactile experience of the world. Before modern supermarkets, corner shops were essential to daily life. Children ran errands for pennies, and shopkeepers knew the names and preferences of every regular customer. These small, family-run businesses created social bonds and a sense of trust that has largely vanished in today's convenience-driven retail environment. Public phones weren't just for emergencies. They were a lifeline and a point of social interaction. Queues outside red phone boxes offered brief conversations, gossip, and community connection. Today, mobile phones provide instant communication, but they lack the charm and social ritual of waiting your turn on the sidewalk. School playgrounds once echoed with homemade toys and simple games. Children invented elaborate rules, creating worlds out of nothing more than sticks, chalk, and imagination. Modern playgrounds with manufactured equipment and digital distractions have replaced much of this imaginative play. Street markets were vibrant centers of commerce and conversation. Farmers, butchers, and bakers sold their goods with personal greetings and advice. Bargaining was common, and every visit included casual chat and community news. The rise of supermarkets and online delivery has erased the daily ritual and human connection of these markets. Sunday afternoon strolls through parks were a national pastime. Families, couples, and the elderly walked for leisure, sometimes stopping to watch a brass band, feed ducks, or chat with neighbors. The pace was slow, deliberate, and social. Modern parks are quieter, and urban life often prioritizes speed over leisure. The village or town notice board was once the heartbeat of local news. Announcements for dances, concerts, lost pets, and political meetings kept communities connected. Today, social media and online forums have taken over, offering speed but losing the tangible, neighborhood-specific charm. Before automation, petrol stations were social hubs. Filling up a car required effort, manual pumps, and a small conversation with the attendant. Each transaction was a minor ritual, combining practicality with human interaction, a world that vanished with self-service stations. If these memories moved you, don't let the story end here. Leave a comment, join the conversation, and help us keep these voices alive. Subscribe for more journeys through time, and together, let's ensure these cities are never forgotten. See you next time.